Hey, welcome back to the Big Rant Show. As always, thank you for joining me. If you could, hit the subscribe button down below and let's get right to it. Now, the first story I got for you here comes out of Southern California, where 13 siblings ranging from the age of 20 to 29 years old have been locked up and basically held captive by their parents for seemingly at least a few years now. David and Louis Turpin were the parents of these 13 people. There were 7 adults, and the rest of them were underage. And apparently, the adults were so emaciated and so malnutritioned that they looked like children, according to CNN report. So these kids are in very terrible situations. You know, they're really sick, they're really malnourished. It's just terrible to see that this happened. Now, they've been charged with torture and child endangerment, according to the video, or according to different reports I've seen. And let's see if I can give you more information on that. Apparently, the kids were being homeschooled, and that was how that was going. Apparently, their father ran what he called the Sandcastle Day School, according to the California Department of Education. He's listed as the administrator and principal of said school. So they're basically, in a way, being homeschooled by their parents. Nothing wrong with homeschooling, I suppose, if that's what you want to do. But to lock your children up, to sit there and put them in shackles, and chain them to the bed, not feed them, not let them leave when you can't feed them, that's just pure freaking evil, people. So these two people need to go away forever. They never need to be able to breathe the same air that you and I breathe again. These people are evil. I don't care what their damn family says. They've had other family members that weren't living in the house that have sat there and said, "Oh, they were inspired by God to have that many children." Obviously, they wanted to have that many children so they could torture them, so they could hold them captive for their entire lives. That is what they wanted to do. They didn't want these kids in order, to do anything good with their children, to raise them right or any of that stuff. No. They wanted to be able to hold them captive and torture them. And you sit there and look at the picture of them. These people, they look kind of creepy to begin with, but people looking creepy is one thing, being creepy is another. This is one of those situations where they look and are creepy. This is just disgusting. How can you treat children like this? How can you treat your own kids this way? How can you sit there and hold them captive even after they've turned 18? You know why they couldn't let them go? Because they'd been doing that for years and nobody knew about it. The neighbors had no clue about it. They didn't know what was going on. And I don't know what it is. What is it about these families that have all these children that do all these crazy things? You have that family from TLC, the 18 and Counting show, where you ended up with one of the kids was molesting the daughters. And they thought, "Oh, that's okay." It's not okay. And torturing your children is not okay. You deserve to burn in hell. And I hope you do. It won't be a loss to humanity. And in fact, the world would be better off without you breathing in it, you two sons of bitches. Enjoy hell. Now, another story we have, of course, going on right now is a big story that was broken yesterday afternoon. And that is the fact that a former CIA operative or official or officer has been arrested for having stashed information involving other CIA agents and everything. Jerry Lee, he's a naturalized U.S. citizen who is currently living in Hong Kong. He was arrested on Tuesday as he returned back to the U.S. for the first time since 2013. And apparently, he had a handwritten list of all the real names, not just code names or anything like that, but the real names and locations and agencies and covert operations and things like that going on, according to some of the information that was given when he was arrested at JFK Airport. Apparently, it was discovered in 2012, and I guess that's probably why he ended up back in Hong Kong. He faces up to 10 years in prison if convicted. And it's like it says right here in the CNN report, written in their pages were the names, phone numbers, and CIA assets and undercover employees, as well as addresses of covert facilities and operational notes. Pieces of secret and top information, the disclosure of which could cause exceptionally grave damage to national security of the United States. He made his first court appearance the other day, on Tuesday, and he did not enter a plea. I hope this guy is fully, has the book thrown at him, because he comes over here, he's a naturalized citizen. We trust him to come to our country. He joins the CIA. There again, us thinking he's a good guy. And here he is trying to save, he's stashing all this information to give to Chinese officials and stuff like that. What else would he be holding all this information for? The addresses and dates and operational procedures and the real names and addresses of individuals that work for the CIA. Why would he have that if he wasn't looking to give it to somebody else? Now, this is just really to me, this is a major violation of trust, and it's definitely a very wrong thing to do. It's just completely, it's insane to think that somebody would come here and they'd work as a CIA asset and then they would turn around and give all that information to somebody else. Now, we know it happens all the time. It seems insane, like I said, but at the end of the day, we do know that, these, double agents are out there. People always trying to spy for other countries and things like that. We know people are going to get in occasionally. But we've got to be sure we make an example of people that do this. You cannot be stealing U.S. national security information and trying to give it to other countries. Or storing it so you can. It makes you no better than a Bradley Manning or an Edward Snowden who stole classified information and gave it to foreign entities. This Jerry Lee, he needs to go away for the full 10 years that he can face. Now, he's a 13-year veteran of the spy agency there at the CIA, and I don't quite understand his movements and everything, but he was a trained CIA officer, and he had top secret security clearance from 94 till 2007, and that's when he left. Court documents say that he lived in Virginia from August 2012 till June of 2013, and then he left. I'm going to assume because people were on his heels. That's what it seems like to me. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what it looks like. Now, last and not least, really, is there's been a huge storm going on over Donald Trump, DACA, and immigration reform. There's actually, it's so bad that a government shutdown is looming because of it. Now, as for the shutdown, it doesn't need to happen. Democrats, you need to get off your ass and be sure you work, go ahead and work with, the Congress to get a continuing resolution passed at least for another month so we can work on this DACA mess. Personally, I think that Congress needs to get off their ass and do their damn job. Okay? These continuing resolutions are absolutely stupid. We need to be passing budgets not for just a few months or a few days. We need to be passing budgets for long term, for the full damn year, for the entire budget year. We dealt with this during Obama, where the Republicans would block the budget over and over again from being passed. And I'm not going to sit here and be, part of a party that does the same damn thing. When you sit there and decide you're going to shut down the government, Think of all the people that's going to freaking affect. You got military personnel who may not get paid. You've got senior citizens who could not get paid. They might not get their Social Security payments if the shutdown looms long enough. You know, you've got states that would run out of money. Not to mention the people that would be put out of work. And this president supposedly is all about getting people to work, and the Democrats say they want people to work, and Republicans want people to work. Well, if y'all all want people to work, then do your damn job. Quit sitting there thinking you can get something out of shit every time you turn around. It's not good for the country, it's not good for Main Street, and it's just totally not good for America. Now, the whole thing about it is, though, about the DACA thing itself, is, of course, there was a court that gave it a stay on the ending, and so the Trump administration has had to start taking applications again for people on DACA, and so they can so they can continue to renew. But we need a solution for this DACA problem. And Dick Durbin and a Republican had created a bipartisan solution. They had taken to Donald Trump and the White House back when Donald Trump made his shithole comment. And as Dick Durbin reports he feels like he was sandbagged by the White House because he had this bipartisan bill put together. All it needed was to get voted for and Trump to pass it. It had bipartisan support of both parties, but Donald Trump shot it down back on last Thursday. Now, I don't know what to do on this one. I really don't know what to tell people. We've got 700,000 people that are set to be deported in weeks, basically. A few months, maybe. By March. And we haven't got anything done. The Democrats are talking a big game. The Republicans talking a big game. President talking a bunch of lies. And he sits there and wants to tweet out about how the Democrats just don't want DACA when he's the one that shot down the deal. It was a bipartisan bill, and people were, sitting there saying, "Oh, it's the Democrats' fault." No. There is a bill that was available. It was bipartisan, supported by both parties in both chambers. Could have passed, but Donald Trump shot it down and said no. Why? Because it didn't give enough for his damn wall. A wall, by the way, that isn't going to do anything to help the problem that we're dealing with. Because a lot of the people that are in this country illegally did not come across the border. Many of the ones, most of them anyway, have actually come here through legal means and then overstayed their welcome. Because they didn't, they came here legally and then they stayed illegally. The problem is not needing a wall on the southern border. The problem is dealing with the laws that we have and making sure that they're being followed. So this thing going on here between Dick Durbin and President Trump, it doesn't make any sense to me. Because there's no reason that we can't get this done. We need to get, you've got support in both parties, but we don't have enough support to override a veto, so we had to go back and get Trump to sign off on it. And Trump refused. Let me read you a tweet from Donald Trump. Senator Dickie Durbin totally misrepresented what was said at the DACA meeting. Deals can't get made when there's no trust. Durbin blew DACA, and it's hurting our military. First off, Donald Trump, this is about DACA, not our damn military. We know our military is great, but Dick Durbin isn't doing anything to hurt the military. You're full of shit. Plain and simple. He didn't misrepresent anything. Lindsey Graham has said you said what Dick Durbin says you said. I'm going to try to keep the word away from my channel for the time, from now on, because the last video I made that involved the word too many times anyway didn't get monetized. But we all know what he said. I mentioned it earlier. But you've had multiple people confirm what the president said, that Dick Durbin was not lying, and Lindsey Graham, a Republican, says that Trump said it. I'm going to go out on a limb and trust Lindsey Graham on this one, because there's a lot of things, like I've told other people, there's a lot of things that Lindsey Graham is. I don't support his politics for the most part. The one thing, though, that I do know about Lindsey Graham is he's a fairly honest politician as far as politicians go. You know, he's not going to sit there and lie about the president. First off, he was just on The View a week ago, and he wouldn't bite on hurting the president. The ladies at The View asked him, tried to get him to, get a zinger, get some zingers in on Trump, and he wouldn't do it. Because he's definitely a party loyalist. That's one thing that Lindsey Graham is. And so, unless it was actually something was actually said, Lindsey Graham wouldn't said it happened, because he's doing his best to support his party's president. And so, we all know that happened. That it's just what it is. Okay? That's one of the things that happened. But the thing with this DACA thing, we have got to get it taken care of. Both Democrats and Republicans and Trump need to understand that this has to get taken care of. These people put their faith in our government to take care of them, to allow them to stay here. They came out and they put their names out there. And now the Trump administration wants to deport all of them. That, and only that, is the reason DACA has not been taken care of, while there is no replacement for DACA at this point in time. Right now, the reason there is no DACA replacement is simply the fact that Donald Trump doesn't want a DACA replacement. As much as he claims he does, he wouldn't have sandbagged Dick Durbin and his bipartisan bill that had support in both chambers if he actually wanted DACA to be approved. Okay? You can add some security. The bill involves extra security. Both Democrats and Republicans both want extra security at the border. Now, the problem is Trump wants his wall, and if you don't get a wall, you don't get DACA, he says. Well, how about this, Mr. Trump? How about you actually sign a damn budget? How about you sign an actual budget, and then we talk about your stupid wall? Quit trying to tie other people's lives to your stupid wall. You want extra security? Send extra security down there. But don't sit there and tell me you give a damn about the people on the DACA program. Don't even tell me you give a damn about them. When you had a bipartisan bill, came to your freaking office, showed it to you, and you didn't even understand what was in it. Your whole thing was if it didn't have a wall, he didn't want it. Anyhow, that's what I got for you for today's show. I hope you're enjoying the new long format. It's a lot more work for me, but hey, it's what I'm going to try and get done. Anyhow, y'all have a great day. I'll see you down the road.